Superman is arguably the first modern superhero, and I want to know, why is he getting done so dirty in recent years? The totally hot new take on the character is, what would he look like if Superman was a huge douchebag? And we see this in products like The Boys, Brightburn, Batman vs Superman, Injustice 1 and 2, Superman Red Son, and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. All of these range on a spectrum of Superman is a depressed figure tortured by what to do with his powers to Superman is a psychotic egomaniac overlord. Ironically, Soviet Superman scores pretty average on that. But the thing about Superman is, he's not meant to be a character that believes he's automatically in the right. He's not meant to be a character that imposes his judgment as the best judgment. Nor is he a character motivated by the ego boost he gets from being adored and saving people. I believe that this idea of Superman stems from his association with the American way.
Fights a never-ending battle for truth, justice, and the American way.
The America of today operates on a system that exploits 99% of its own population. That's what the American way has come to mean for a lot of its own people. And that is never what Superman was meant to represent. We need to stop pretending that Superman is the poster boy for the capitalist machine. He's not the government's lapdog. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Dark Knight Returns.
Either shut it down, or one of these days, someone with authority is gonna tell me to come stop you.
The real purpose of this video is trying to remember a time when Superman was not just a figure that people were told to look up to, but was a figure that people actually wanted to look up to. Now, I'll admit, I've never read a Superman comic before, so I know these ideas have been discussed in some shape, way, or form, and I've seen Superman All-Star. I'm more so making this video from the perspective of a kid who believed in the idea of a pure and good Superman, but grew up in a world that treats those values in contempt, as if they're just fantasies. Recently, I rewatched the Richard Donner Superman movies, that being Superman the movie from 1978 and Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. I did not have any intentions of making a video about Superman when I watched them, but here I am now. So I want to take a moment and break down a few scenes from the first Superman movie and discuss his character as a man in a world that sees him as a god. The first exchange I want to focus on is a conversation between a teenage Clark Kent and his father, Jonathan Kent. Clark has superpowers but is hiding them from everyone, including his peers at school, and in order to achieve this, he isn't allowed to participate in sports, so no one pays him much attention. After a while, Clark starts to get fed up and vents out to his father. Hey, Dad, so the other boys over there get to be liked and worshipped for how good they are at scoring touchdowns in football, whereas me on the other hand, I have to hide the fact that I could score 100 touchdowns before they could score 1. If my natural abilities allow me to do that, why can't I be celebrated for it, you know? It's not fair. And good old Jonathan Kent tells him, you know, Clark, you're right. You could become a pro athlete, and you could be the best one there is. But the truth is, you wouldn't be challenging yourself. We don't actually know the limits of your powers. So why would you limit yourself with winning sports games? So until you figure that out, like what kind of great purpose you could use those powers for, you gotta keep them a secret. And with this simple exchange, we understand why Superman would never go the route of an evil dictator. Superman doesn't do what he does to be appreciated or worshipped. And even if he did, becoming a dictator would be too easy and would limit himself. Doing something only because you can isn't the same as doing something because you should, you know? It's like, you shouldn't settle. You're not superior for doing something that would come easy to you. Which is why you shouldn't surround yourself with only people that adore and obsess over you. And in this scenario, exercising restraint shows more fortitude than getting what he wants.
Then a man gets older and he thinks very differently and things get very clear.
The next scene I want to lay into takes place right after Superman goes out in costume for the first time. He revealed himself to the world not because there was some powerful villain wreaking havoc, but because Lois Lane was about to die in a helicopter accident. Once she was safe, Superman went on a tour of Metropolis solving every little problem he could find, from helping a plane that lost its engine, to stopping mob activity and burglaries, and even saving a cat out of a tree for good measure. At the end of the night, he went back to his Fortress of Solitude and recounts his good deeds to his space daddy, Jor-El. The first thing I love about this scene is it just shows that Superman's charm and likability isn't some sort of persona he puts on for good PR purposes. That is his real personality. Here he is alone with the downloaded mind of Jor-El, yet he is so giddy about getting carried away with helping people. So he explains to his father that he finally has a noble use for his superpowers, and how fulfilling it was to do some good. Saving people is who he is and what he wants to do with his life. And now that he's ready, he can open up and be honest with the world and no longer be forced to act as a clumsy reporter just to throw people off. And to that, Jor-El tells him, "I'm sorry, son, but you have to keep up the secret identity. It's your moral and ethical obligation. First of all, if your enemies knew who you are, they'll use that information to find and hurt the people you love. That's Superhero 101. The second reason is that people will start expecting you to be Superman 28 hours a day.
24. Oh, 24. As it is in Earth time.
People will take your heroics for granted and they'll call on you to aid them with problems they could easily solve themselves. Here, Jor-El is saying that even if Superman could solve every problem at any time, he should still only intervene when the situation calls for him, because he's still just one person. The cat could have been saved in so many other ways that don't require a god that can bench press a mountain. There are plenty of ways humans can solve that problem themselves. On the other hand, the helicopter and airplane accidents would have only ended badly if it weren't for his intervention. This is sort of like being a parent or a friend to a person who hasn't had to deal with the consequences of their actions as much. You can't shield them from making bad decisions forever. They'll have to make their own mistakes and learn to get themselves out of a jam without waiting for someone to pull them out of it. And of course, they still might meet a problem that they can't solve on their own, and it's okay to help them if they ask for it. You see, Superman is not a story about being brave or strong enough to solve a problem. It's a story about knowing the difference between being able to save the day and being needed to save the day. And you might think that it's an impossible standard for anyone to be this well-intentioned. And I get it. It's easy for Superman to be an all-around great guy. Being a good person is the only thing he has to worry about on a daily basis. There is literally nothing else that could ever challenge him. Humans like you and me, on the other hand, will never have powers. It would be pointless to try to be as strong or as fast as Superman. The only possible way we could be more like him is to believe in childish ideas such as love, compassion, and selflessness. Mimicking that part of Superman without having the power is that much more impressive. Being kind and caring is that much harder when you have to remember about your human pains and vulnerabilities. And that's what makes Superman such a difficult character to relate to. It actually takes effort to understand him, just like it takes a huge effort to resist the urge to save people from themselves. We might not be men and women of steel, but we can have a heart of gold. That's Superman. It's the faith that everyone can be the best version of themselves. Thank you for watching. Hi, hello, thank you for watching, and if you're this far, I appreciate it. I know this video sounded cheesy, but the whole point of the video is to explain that labeling things as cheesy is not actually good criticism, especially if the cheesiness is about being a good person, so we all make mistakes. We all find ourselves in dark places, whether it's our fault or someone else's. The only thing that you're in control of is how you grow from it, how you get yourself out of there. If you're gonna blame someone else, or if you're gonna become better.